name's Dan. We are traveling full time at the moment out of this off-road VW Crafter, and quite recently we figured out that the pop-top roof that we thought was waterproof isn't very waterproof, and we've been basically going through the process to try and get it sorted since, and it has been one hell of a process. And in this video I'm basically going to let you know what we found out, what we think is good with the pop-top, what we think is bad, and just all things pop-top related basically. And the weather isn't always this good in England, as you probably just saw from those clips. Now, we got a pop-top installed on our camper van, and the idea was, I just assumed that it was pretty much waterproof. It is to some extent, but the water can just soak it and seep through. So the plan is to try and waterproof it and see if we can keep that water out. Now, we did try a little solution the other day, like a cheapy thing from Amazon, and it just didn't work. So Mitzi found this fabric leather waterproofer, which we're going to give this a try. So the plan is, we're going to not do it now because we've snuck out for a quick walk, but once we get back we're going to spray the whole pop-top and try and waterproof it, and hopefully give it enough time to dry before the rain comes back again, and then we can test it within the rain. So fingers crossed. So again, this is for this is really for shoes. After 2 minutes, remove excess with a cloth. Okay, so don't cloth it just yet. I don't know if it's worth me saving some for the inside. I guess not. Let's just get it all on the outside. I'm gonna lather this thing up. Get it. Go, 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 go. Or perhaps we let it dry and then do a bit of a second coat. Let's just leave it a few minutes and then we'll give it a second coat. It's been about 2 minutes. Let's wipe this off. I mean, there's a couple of things that come to mind when I'm looking at this. You can make up your own mind. Let's just give that a wipe. Kind of got inside there. It smells like glue, like it, you know, like I don't know, glue from back when we were in school. It smells like that. It's kind of weird, and it looks like it as well. It looks like very, yeah, it looks a bit like glue, to be honest. That's exactly what I meant. It looks like glue. I don't think I should really be rubbing all of it, but I just wanted to try and spread it out so it doesn't rub it off. And yeah, that's it. That was what it's called, fabric and leather proof. When we get to Scotland, I'll probably do a bit of an update video on this once we really get into some rain, and let you know how it holds. But yeah, just wanted to say hello. We're in the New Forest, getting a few bits done, a few kind of household jobs. Yeah. Well, if that wasn't good timing to test the fabric, now the issue is it probably hasn't had time to dry. But hopefully that plus the seal of the other one's going to work well. We normally put this insulation up around the inside as well when it's like quite cold, but it's going to be a bit of a test. So there's not much yet. Normally what happens is it's water, like it's always water repellent, but when it gets really wet, it just starts to seep through. So what we want to do now actually is we'll check where most of the water's coming in. Oh, I love Britain, mate. I love it. Ooh. So, just back in the pop-top after it's finished raining. It's still a little bit raining, but this was the side that was mostly here. And although it's really cold and it doesn't feel, or there's no dampness coming through, and although it wasn't raining for a long time, it was very heavy rain. So I don't know if it's worked. I don't know. So far though, seems pretty good. We'll have to do a proper test once it rains for like a week, but yeah, if you guys have got any info on how we can really waterproof this, it does feel cold and just cold and damp and not ideal. So anyway, this is the insulation. We're gonna magnetic that up the top, magnet it here, and if it gets a bit cold that side, doesn't really matter. Anyway, let's get this up. So as you can see from that video, there was just water seeping through. Now we've had lots of discussions whether we think that could have been condensation, could have been this, could have been that, but we've been using the Poptop the same ever since that night, and it's never been as bad as that. That was quite a stormy night. I know that it's still a fabric. I know that it's not as hard as the side of the van, but when it's waterproof, in my mind, it should not let the water in. But as you can see, there was lots of water on the side, so it was sitting on the side, and if you had your blanket on the side of the duvet, then the water was just seeping into that and seeping down to the bottom. And the way the Poptop here is built is there's a piece of wood that is sat off the roof, so there was an inch gap underneath the Poptop. And what seems to have happened is that was just, at least down this side, so you can see where the van slants, on this side there was just a puddle of water. So my thought was that because there was quite a lot of rain that night, what had happened is that the rain had just soaked the canvas so much that it was then kind of seeping through that canvas. Essentially, if you were to touch it, or when there was too much of a build-up in water, that water then started to drip down, and then essentially didn't flood's not the right term, but essentially there was a build-up of water at the bottom there. From that point on, we haven't had as bad weather, but we've gone through the steps. So the next step for us was to, sorry, my hands are freezing. It's frozen. There you can see over there, there's still a little bit of ice. It was our first like proper cold night in the van, and I'll get into it in a minute, but we didn't sleep up the top because we've just had that replaced. Anyway, we haven't really seen water ingress like that. What we did do though was I bought an internal insulation. Now, a lot of people have told me to get external ones, which are apparently very good, but actually getting this attached, you can see here, and I'll walk you around the other side, getting up to the van every time you want to put the Poptop up to put the insulation on is kind of a pain in the butt. So we've got all of the gear on the side, but kind of walking around and strapping it in and getting it to this end is where the pain in the bum is. And yesterday it was completely icy. The whole solar panel had iced up. Starlink had iced up because I didn't have it on and it wasn't heating itself. And all of the metal had ice on it as well. So assuming we go to a campsite, I'm going to have to shimmy around all the edge of that because we don't have a ladder in the van. The next one would be to find the ladder. But anyway, I went for an internal insulation, and that works very well. But as you can see, I needed to glue magnets all around the top because there's no metal structure inside. It has been a faff, to be completely honest with you. So far, Poptop had let a lot of water in. We then put internal insulation on. The water still was obviously coming through. There was more condensation once we put the Poptop insulation in, but every night we would take that down and wipe the walls. There was nothing like when it was really stormy. So essentially I got in touch with Tobias from Van House, who built the majority of the van for us, and just said, look mate, something ain't right with this. And he initially suggested, and what the guy who he used to put the Poptop on was to re-waterproof it, because over time fabric will unwaterproof, like your shoes, like leather shoes and stuff. You can get re-waterproofers, Fab Seal and things like this. So we did that, but still the problem kind of persists when it got heavy rain. The water would like soak the canvas, and then the water would soak through the canvas, which then would lead to a build-up and the water would start dropping down again. And because we've got electronics up the top, I was like, this can't be good. So I got Tobias to get in touch with the guys who supplied the Poptop, and they basically said, we think you've got the wrong fabric. And I was like, yes. Yes, I think so too. And that kind of takes us to the current day where we are in Newcastle, because these guys are based in Newcastle, and this is kind of how it went. So we're currently staying in this beautiful country park called Druridge Bay. There's a beautiful lake just behind the van. It's basically empty. It's cheaper than most other campsites, and it's just got all the facilities. It's really nice. But we stayed here because yesterday we drove just south of Newcastle to meet these guys. A lovely guy named Jordan and Connor and Kevin as well. Everyone there was absolutely fucking diamonds, to be honest with you. They checked out the pop that we got. They actually think that the fabric we had was kind of on point, but it felt thinner than what they were normally used to, and it had eyelets on the side, so it was definitely not perfect. So I'm going to take you up and show you what we've got now, which is basically what I think is very similar, but the fabric feels a lot thicker, if that makes sense. So albeit very similar to what it used to be, it feels a lot quite clearly newer. Perhaps I got like a shit batch before, but this is basically exactly the same pop top. He's just taken this off, resealed it all the way along here. Bless him. He said this was a pain in the ass because of how tight it is now and how we've got the roof rack around the outside of the pop top. But this has all gone back on really nicely. I'm going to show you on the inside, because what they're saying is that although this is still a fabric on the outside, on the inside it should feel like there's kind of a coating on the inside that is the waterproof part. So technically this isn't waterproof. On the inside is the waterproof part. I, in my head, had assumed that with something like this that needs to be winterproof, that the fabric would just be, I don't know, just thicker, like kind of like an insulation, but just much thicker. But I don't know if it's a thing. I've been Googling a lot and I can't really find anything. So there's the host going for a run, bless her. You all right, Zai? Keep him warm. Let's go inside and I'll show you from the inside. So, as you've seen, potentially if you've seen on other videos, this is the installation we've got. This is from a company called IsoCamp. And essentially this just lays on the inside of this. As you can see already though, there's just a bit of water on the inside. Look. But what it does feel like is it's shiny. In the previous version, the previous one we had didn't look or feel shiny. So although the fabric is quite weak, you know, it's still a fabric, it's still a pop-up, it still needs to fold down. I get that. But it does feel weak still. And so last night we basically, the boys finished it, did an amazing job. It's all back on. They filled all the hole, you know, all in the holes we were in before. They've done a really, really good job replacing it. It's kind of replaced like for like. And what I did last night was we all slept downstairs, but I laid this over where I am here, and we had the diesel heater pumping a bit of air up into here, and I kept waking up through the night. It's not that comfortable, and we're all sleeping downstairs, and yeah, I put my hand through the hole, and it was fucking cold. It was really cold up here last night. There's a lot of airflow through here. This here is kind of like a, you know, there's a vent there that although it closes, it still gets some airflow through. And yeah, but I mean, this is it. I mean, this is the pop top. You got this here. There's the vents from side to side. It's pretty, you know. When it's hot, this is absolutely phenomenal. And in the winter, the idea really was to just not let the wind in. You know, the wind is what makes it very cold. It's that bit of wind. So what I was really hoping for was that it would kind of stop a bit of that. But we're going to test it over the next few nights. They've kind of promised me that it's waterproof. We will need to manage the condensation. So this is our diesel heater flume that comes up here. This is our sort of USB charging for Zyra. This is why I was nervous, because the water was sat down below here. So we'll give it a test tonight. We'll get this diesel heater pumping through here. yeah, give it a proper test. The rest of the plan today is, because the whole fabric's been replaced, where I stuck all my magnets before, because this is all magnetic basically, so there's no rails or anything. This has got magnets along here. I need to stick magnets on this fabric, which, as you can probably know if you've tried to glue anything to fabric, sucks. It's just shit. So we're trying to use the Gorilla Glue that sets over a period of like 24 hours. So I'm going to try and get this done now, get this glued up, give the insulation a proper test tonight, run the diesel heater, see how much condensation builds up in here, even if we leave. So what we're doing is leaving a air vent there, and it allows for the flow of air up here nicely. And obviously all the hot air from the bottom's coming up as well. But yeah, let's get this gluing done, and yeah, we'll see you in the morning. Okay, so we're back in the Poptop. Kids are having fun. The whole van's shaking. Baby shark. So we are having real trouble sticking this on. It's because the canvas is cold. Even though I'm running this little low wattage heater up here, it is warm, but it's not warm enough. This is falling off. So we're using double Gorilla Glue. Boom, boom. A little bit of each. And now we're taping it on to make sure it stays on overnight. And hopefully the tape will just hold it in place. We're going to try like 4 or 5 along here, or at least this side, so we can get this side of the insulation up tonight. We can see how cold it is with just one up. But yeah, let's keep going. Okay, so last night was good. I managed to get the Poptop insulation up on one side, so not this side but the other side, and it was warm. They all slept up there. I slept downstairs because we run the dehumidifier and the heater up there just to see how it was going. Was it warm last night, Mitz?
Yeah, very warm.
Very warm. So that's great. These kids are out here enjoying the snow. But yeah, I'll take you up into the Poptop in a second. But we had some fun this morning. When we woke up, we were sort of cleaning out the front of the van, and yeah, we had a mouse or something had chewed through the front of the van. So I called up VW, I was like, help me, what do I do? So they sent a guy out to kind of just check all the wiring, and he's been here this morning, so that's been very good. Luckily, he hasn't chewed through any wires. Unreal. So yeah, there's another disaster averted. Jack, how's the snow? You like the snow? Yeah? You don't want to eat it? Does it taste nice? You don't want to eat it because under here, look, it's just all the road, so it's all dirty. Look, we don't want to eat the snow.
Son, can you help us make a snowman?
Or maybe you do. Sure. Jack, don't. This is bad. I shouldn't laugh because that means it's funny. Yeah, I'll help you build a snowman in a minute. I'm just going to go up into the Poptop and just. Whatever, right, here we are. Let's have some fun. That's what it's all about. But yeah, Mouse is in the van somewhere. I'm hoping he's gone out. I don't know where he could be. I've got to do some mouse hunting today. Mitzi's terrified of them. She got scared of the wind earlier and jumped out the van, and that's funny as hell. Did you find him, Mitz?
No, I didn't. I just felt something run through my bum while I'm sitting down on the floor. And I jumped up leaving the van.
It's a problem I never thought we would have, and it's one of those things that, yeah, I don't know. I've never spoke to anyone who's had mice in their van, but yeah, apparently around winter it's something that's quite. Let's get these doors closed. It's kind of cold. Yeah, apparently around winter it's quite a regular thing, especially for just vans in general, and if a van's parked up in a certain place for a while, then they'll sort of find their way into the engine bay because that's where it's hot, and yeah, make themselves a nice bed. Okay, so let's show you what we managed to do last night. Yeah, so 2 things we got up in the Poptop. Little heater, 500 watt heater, and then a dehumidifier as well. There was a little bit of condensation on the walls this morning, but not much. And again, this fabric is feeling much better than the fabric we had before. So happy days. But this is what we did. We managed to get this up and running. It looks like they've all worked. I did just leave the tape on last night, but that seems to have held quite nicely. So I'll probably just leave the tape on for a few more days. But yeah, today's final plan is to get the magnets on the front and magnets on the side. I got one up there already, but we're gonna get working on this now. I do love the snow, so we're gonna maybe have a little walk and then crack on with this. But yeah, thanks for watching. This has kind of been just a little bit of an update really, because the problems we had at the start of the year, and just kind of something that when you're not really aware of how to fix it, it just takes time to speak to people and understand what's wrong and what the solution is to fixing these things. So yeah, we're going to go and enjoy the snow. Thanks again for watching. Thanks again for subbing if you're on Twitch, and subbing on the Overland Gaming website. The plan with the website is to start to do some more work on the map. So when you become a member, you get access to our map of where we've travelled and all the suggestions and reviews and opinions that we've had on these locations. You can obviously message us on Discord if you've got any personal questions. But yeah, let's go and enjoy the snow while it's out, and I'll see you in the next video.